Whilst everybody is making videos about the Festival of the Lost, and I hope they're all having fun playing that, because I'm currently away and enjoying some time to myself, I will probably play it when I come back, whenever that will be. But I wanted to make something in advance to try and keep the schedule up to date, and I actually wanted to point something out that was pointed out to me about the twid. And it pretty much came from a comment left on one of my old videos, which is from Darkside7802, which is basically saying I called it, all are going to 170. Now, I had no idea what this comment meant at the time, so I was very curious. And it's about the 170 Sparrow always on time. More specifically, the video I did over a year ago. So that's when I was discussing always on time and talking about some ideas when it came to dealing with the Sparrows in Destiny. The thing about the 170 that he's talking about is literally just this little clip here from the twid. It's basically just confirming that always on time is going to become the default speed for all Sparrows in Season 23. Which I think is fantastic news, because now we're actually going to see a lot of variety in Sparrows again, which it's really nice, because 9 times out of 10, if you're running endgame content, you will see players running always on time, because it's just the fastest Sparrow. So the fact that they're making this all balanced across the board is brilliant. I always thought always on time was pretty much the perfect kind of speed for doing things. But again, I'm going to say what I said a year ago, because I still think it's the best way to go forward for Sparrows, and I'm really hoping Bungie does actually do it. So they've already done the first thing, which is they've made all Sparrows 170 speed, which, yes, it is good in its own right, but I think we can do one step further, which is Sparrow Crafting. Obviously, Bungie has gone crafting and focusing crazy ever since the Witch Queen came out, so why not carry on the trend with Sparrows? And the idea behind it is very simple. You literally will just pick out perks like you would for your weapons, and then each of these perks will do different things for your Sparrows. You could even have it set up exactly the same way as the Witch Queen is with its crafting system. You could pretty much just have it so you could have a 140 engine all the way up to a 170 engine, and depending on which engine you pick will determine what kind of perks you can use. Say, for example, if you're going to have a 170 engine, you could then not use something that will allow you to turn stupidly quickly, because you're going at 170 speed, which will basically make the Sparrow excellent in straight lines or long distance, but when it comes to sharp turns, it won't be so good. And then on the flip side of this, you could literally have a 150 Sparrow, for example, that is really good at sharp turning, which is going to be ideal for the next thing I'm going to mention, which is bring back Sparrow Racing. I obviously mean this in a limited capacity. Like, I have pretty much said this in the past, where I think it should be an addition on the side of Guardian games, because Guardian games just seems like a perfect fit for Sparrow Racing, where it can be a healthy competition across everybody, and it's just a really fun thing everyone can do. A system that you could also use for crafting Sparrows would be if you just crafted an original Sparrow to start with, and this was a 140 Sparrow as soon as you made it. And as you earn experience for your Sparrow by traveling through the worlds or just doing activities in general, you'll eventually have enough experience to recraft it. And what I mean by this is exactly how the exotic weapons work when we're crafting those. Because if you take the Dead Man's Tail and the Revision Zero, for example, when you level these up, you can actually upgrade their intrinsic traits. I would actually suggest that the engine system works like this. So when you get to a certain level with your Sparrow, you can then upgrade it to a 150 speed. So for example, let's say level 10 is 150 speed, level 20 would be 160, and then level 30 would be 170. And if Bungie really wanted to push the boat out, they could go level 40 would make it 180. And I would heavily suggest that they do that, only because it would actually offer a good incentive to craft Sparrows and start over from scratch. And the reason I'd offer that incentive is literally because it's exactly like if you get a gold roll weapon of something, then what possible reason would you have to craft it? It's the exact same argument for the Sparrow. If you have a 170 Sparrow, i.e. the always on time Sparrow, then what incentive would you possibly have to then craft one and level it up all the way to 170? It'd be pretty much, unless you are incredibly bored, then you aren't going to be bothered to do it. So offering a 180 engine as an incentive would actually make it worth it to grind through all those levels to get it. Naturally, you'd be able to swap the perks around like we've seen on Sparrows in the past. Obviously, the destabilizers would be a favourite because it allows you to do spins and flips and whatnot, and not to mention you can also Sparrow glide with it as well. But this is actually something Bungie could expand upon in the future, like they could make a perk where it allows you to shoot guns from your Sparrow. That would be pretty cool. Might be a bit overpowered in certain areas, but hey ho, it's a bit of fun. And no, I don't mean you can do a drive-by Gallahorn, even though that sounds really fun to do. I definitely think they'd have to draw a line in the sand on where they would do something like that. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say about this. I'm fairly happy that Bungie is leveling out all the Sparrows. We're going to see a lot more variety now, and I'm going to be happy to swap my Sparrow for the first time in, I think, 2 years now. But as always, thank you for watching the video. Remember to leave a like and a comment down below, and I shall see you all in the next one.